Coming up on Cronkite News, Arizona Speaker of the House Rusty Bowers testifies in front of the January 6th committee. We'll have all the details.
Plus, a priceless painting disappeared 40 years ago and ended up in one of the most unlikely places. We'll show you the journey it's taken to end up back in Arizona.
And later on Break It Down, a look at colorism in the Hispanic community and why it needs to be talked about.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Julio Mora Rodriguez.
And I'm Jessica Herrera. Thank you for joining us. The committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol continued its hearings today. Members laid out a timeline of pressure that the Trump White House exerted trying to get state officials to overturn the 2020 election. And Arizona House Speaker Rusty Bowers was a key witness. As Daisy Gonzalez Perez reports from our Washington, D.C. bureau.
Even before he could begin his testimony today, Arizona House Speaker Rusty Bowers had to deal with more rumors from former President Donald Trump, who claimed in a statement today that Bowers said Trump won in 2020. Bowers had a blunt response.
Anywhere, anyone, anytime has said that I said the election was rigged, that would not be true.
That set the tone for the hearing, in which Bowers testified to repeated efforts by Trump and his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, to reverse the election. Bowers said he repeatedly asked for evidence from the Trump team, but that they could never produce it.
At some point, did one of them make a comment that they didn't have evidence, but they had a lot of theories?
That was Mr. Giuliani.
And what exactly did he say and how that come up?
My recollection, he said, we've got lots of theories, we just don't have the evidence.
Bowers said the calls from the White House began just days after the election and continued through January 6th, with legal theories that were increasingly far-fetched.
Well, I thought of the book, The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight, and I just thought, this is a tragic parody.
He also said he was contacted by Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs on January 6th, who asked him to support a challenge to the election on the same day it was being certified.
And I said I would not.
Bowers, like other witnesses from Georgia, testified to a campaign of harassment after the election, receiving thousands of emails and voicemail messages and protesting outside his house regularly. But Bowers said he was only following the Constitution, what he called a divinely inspired document, and following the law to uphold the election results.
I do not want to be a winner by cheating. I will not play with laws I swore allegiance to.
In Washington, Daisy Gonzalez Perez, Cronkite News.
We reached out to Congressman Andy Biggs' office for comment on Bowers' claim that Biggs contacted him on January 6th, but we haven't yet heard back from them.
With only 10 days left until the new fiscal year, Arizona lawmakers continue hearings to work on the specifics of a $16 billion budget. Rachel Fortunato is in the newsroom with more on a proposed budget that could pass with bipartisan support.
The latest budget plan was released Monday and calls for a 15% spending increase. With only a one-vote margin in both the House and Senate, Republicans need every member of their party to vote yes on this budget, or they need to get support from Democrats. Committee hearings began this morning on a budget plan that taps into the state's $4 billion surplus, with over $540 million going for border-related projects, more than $1 billion for water issues, $600 million for various road construction projects across the state, and about $900 million for education-related expenses. Legislative leaders hope there's enough in the budget for everyone that some Democrats will cross over and vote yes. But in a press conference today, education leaders say they want to see more for education.
We laid out the educators' budget, which was $1.2 billion, so that's kind of what we consider the enough as a baseline. These are not new and curious and out-of-the-pocket ideas. This is what working families, parents, educators, teachers want.
The legislature must pass a budget in order to avoid a shutdown on July 1st. In the newsroom, Rachel Fortunato, Cronkite News.
It may sound like a scene straight out of a movie, but we assure you it's not. After the break, we take you to Los Angeles to learn about an art heist that took almost 40 years to resolve.
The fight against wildfires continues throughout the state. Stick around for the latest updates.
Ain't no time for imitation, ain't no time for playing. I'm just gonna do me.
You know what I'm saying?
Try to stay out of trouble.
Where's the fun in that? You know how ladies can be.
I'ma do what I do.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience
Pales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
and develop your skills with the latest technology.
That way the flavors will marry nicely.
Can you tell me what I'm looking at?
I'm not looking for love, I'm looking for cookies.
And there's still places to discover.
It just absorbs you.
You can make this at home if you can't find it.
I will continue to eat and drink until you get here. Get here fast.
Cheers.
Oh, look at that. Oh, doesn't that look good? We are going to be eating well.
It does work.
It does.
We got a happy little sky.
We're just getting started.
This next story is right out of a movie. A priceless piece of artwork stolen 37 years ago from the University of Arizona Museum of Art is now on display at the Getty Center in Los Angeles. Reporter Emily Miranda found out more about the restoration of the stolen painting.
Not only is this a story out of a movie, it will be the subject of a documentary called The Thief Collector, which is expected to be out later this year. The Woman Occur painting by Willem de Kooning has been estimated as worth $160 million. It has been at the Getty Center in Los Angeles for the last 3 years undergoing restoration. Senior conservator Laura Rivers spent more time than anyone else working on it.
What was intended to be a relatively short-term project, because of the lack of studio time we had to undertake during the pandemic, the project stretched to almost 3 years.
De Kooning painted the piece in 1955 to explore the female figure. In 1958, the painting's owner, Edward Gallagher, donated it to the University of Arizona Museum of Art. In 1985, it was stolen. This sketch shows the alleged thieves who ripped it from its canvas. Curators think they rolled it up, hid it under a coat, and walked out, causing this extensive damage. 32 years later, a New Mexico antique dealer bought it for $2,000 at an estate sale in New Mexico. It had been hanging in the home of 2 school teachers who died.
We know it was stolen in 1985, and then in 2017, it was hanging behind the bedroom door. Anything that happened in between, we can only make assumptions about it because we truly don't know for sure.
Some of the antique store customers recognized it as a de Kooning, and so the antique dealer contacted the museum in Arizona. The museum shipped it back to verify originality.
I was pretty well convinced that it was the painting, but after seeing it perfectly line up with its edges, that was really all we needed to know. This was the most fragmented paint surface that I had ever worked on. And it was at the same time the largest and the smallest jigsaw puzzle that I've ever participated in, that I've ever worked on.
You can see how the team first reattached the lifted and flaked areas. Conservators used specialized solvents to remove the discoloring from years of applied varnish. A new lining was attached and reunited with the original canvas. This team finished by painting in the damaged areas. The painting goes on display at the University of Arizona Museum of the Art October 8th through May 20th. After, it will move upstairs into the permanent collection gallery. In Los Angeles, Emily Miranda, Cronkite News.
Fires continue to burn across the state, but thanks to tireless efforts of volunteers and fire crews, progress is being made. The Contreras Fire Operations report a 50% containment, an improvement from the 40% reported yesterday. Crews are working to contain and further improve the fire line along the fire's northern edge. The Coconino County Sheriff's Office is lifting evacuation orders for some residents affected by the pipeline fire along Highway 89. While residents in those areas are free to return to their homes, much of the national forest land in that area remains closed. The pipeline and haywire fires have reached 60% and 45% containment. You can find more information on the fire and closures at the website below. Let's check in with Rachel Fortunato at the Cronkite Weather Center and see if this week's forecast helps cool things down.
We're not going to be cooling down a lot this week, but we might get some rainfall, which might help with those high temperatures. We're looking at clear skies till about Wednesday at 4:30 in the morning, where a good portion of the state is going to be covered in clouds. Those are going to quickly move north, leaving us with clear skies until about Thursday at 5 p.m. We're going to get some more clouds and possibly a few storms in the state. Looking at our high temperatures in Arizona, we're going to be about 104 in Phoenix. You can go slightly north to Sedona and Prescott, getting in the low 80s. But if you're really looking for some nice cool weather this week, you're going to want to head to Show Low, Window Rock, or the Grand Canyon, where it's a nice cool 77. If you're looking to get out of the state this weekend, St. George and Las Vegas are both going to be 93. If you're looking to go to the coast, Los Angeles is 76 and San Diego is 77. Looking at tonight, we're going to be about 104 at 6 p.m. We have some low chances of rain, probably not going to happen for us this week. We're going to cool down to about 95 tonight. You're probably going to want to wait until about 8 or 9 p.m. to go out tonight, walk that dog, do anything outside, and we're going to hit the high 90s. Our 8-day forecast, Wednesday is going to be 104 with a 10% chance of rain. That chance is going to continue to increase for us until we hit 30 on Sunday with 104-degree weather. That chance is only going to decrease slightly, going back up to 20 on Wednesday with a temperature of 105. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Rachel Fortunato.
I'm Ethan Ryder. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Sports betting keeps heating up in the Valley. We'll have the first look at the newest sportsbook in Phoenix up next.
Different about you, a new brightness in your eyes.
Welcome to the Hotel Portofino.
How utterly charming.
Something is coming, can you feel it now?
My dreams have been invigorated.
We like stories that are going to elevate us.
Feel it now.
What is your sense now of the situation?
Something is coming.
They gave us possibilities.
This is the opportunity to share my recipes.
Everywhere you look.
You're going deep into the heart of America.
The Holocaust is a story that Americans have to reckon with, too.
This is pure exploration.
Wow!
I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Ethan Ryder. The much-anticipated Caesars Sportsbook at Chase Field is finally here. The grand opening took place this morning at the Diamondbacks' home. Cronkite News reporter Kyle Betts has more on what the stadium is doing to make the fan experience better.
Since the legalization of sports betting in Arizona last September, the gambling scene has grown and will now get even bigger, as Caesars Sportsbook at Chase Field was unveiled to the public today. Caesars Sportsbook at Chase Field just became the largest sportsbook to partner with a stadium in the United States. The 22,000-foot, two-story facility houses kiosks, booths, and of course, a lot of TVs to add to the fan experience. Representatives from Caesars and Diamondbacks president and CEO Derek Hall were even on hand to watch longtime Diamondback season ticket holders place the ceremonial first bets inside the facility. Caesars is now also the biggest freestanding sportsbook in the state of Arizona.
We've been excited about it in anticipation of what it could bring to not only our fans, but I think anybody that comes down here, right? It's going to attract people that are non-baseball fans, that are baseball fans. It just enhances the overall experience of any visit to downtown Phoenix.
Another part of the entertainment center was revealed just right upstairs, called Guy Fieri's Downtown Phoenix Kitchen and Bar at Caesars Sportsbook. The new restaurant has a full-service bar with indoor and outdoor seating right outside of the stadium.
It's pretty convenient. You can throw a rock across the way here and you're at the game. Great food beforehand. No knock on the food in there. It's cool.
Caesars Sportsbook at Chase Field and Guy Fieri's downtown Phoenix Kitchen and Bar now join the FanDuel Sportsbook at the Footprint Center as the only 2 locations in downtown Phoenix where you can place a sports bet and also grab a quick bite. In Phoenix, Kyle Betts, Cronkite News.
The Caesars Sportsbook at Chase Field is located outside the stadium, so you will not be able to enter and place bets from inside a Diamondbacks game. The Suns made history this week after hiring Morgan Cato, the first woman of color in NBA history to be an assistant GM. Cato is also the vice president of basketball operations for the team. Cato spent the last decade as the associate VP of business operations for the NBA. For the Suns, the Harvard Business School graduate will report to Monty Williams and James Jones to help with numerous front office duties such as player engagement and coaching development. The State Department is apologizing for an error that kept Brittany Griner from speaking to her wife. The Mercury player made multiple attempts to contact her wife on their anniversary, but the State Department said she was never able to reach her due to an unexplained logistical error. Sherelle Griner called the mix-up unacceptable. Brittany has been detained in Russia on drug charges since February. The White House said a new phone call between the couple has been set up. The Mercury won 2 of 4 on the road and are now back at Footprint Center tonight, taking on the Minnesota Lynx. In those wins, they shot more three-point attempts than their opponents, a strategy coach Vanessa Nygaard is sticking with.
He's a leading three-point shooter in the history of the game. So we're definitely going to take threes. I think that's the way the game is evolving. My college coach taught me that 3 is more than 2. So I definitely like to take threes, and I like to take layups and free throws.
That's it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Julio.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.